Gamers, Marvel Rivals feels like they've stolen everything in the game. There's not like a single feature in Marvel Rivals that I'm like, wow, that's unique and also good. Usually the way it works is either I can point to it and go, that works exactly like this other game, or I can point to it and go, that's horrible. So I thought it'd be a fun idea as someone who's never played MR to go through and just experience like a whole bunch of different abilities and mechanics for the first time and point out exactly where they were stolen from. So that's the concept. I don't know why I clicked on Dextero thing. This is not going to be that helpful. Dextero has a roster list. Get up close to strike enemies. Landing the second hit enables a shield throw that can ricochet. It sounds like some weird like version of like Bora, because Bora has different things where she hits an enemy multiple times in a row. Oh wait, this I don't have a name for this one, admittedly. One of the first ones I looked at, there's a Roblox game. There's a Roblox game that had a mechanic that worked just like this. There's some like Overwatch inspired Roblox game. I don't remember the name of it. Shield held high, granting both himself and allies along the path continuous bonus health and movement boost. So it sounds like just a mini version of Kyrie ult. Hurley energy charge shield, strike enemies in a path. That sounds just kind of like Tiberius's main weapon. Raise the shield, charge forward, so shield bash from Brig. Slam down from the sky onto the targeted area, knocking enemies airborne. So either Wrecking Ball or Doomfist, depending on exactly how it works. Raise the shield to deflect incoming projectiles, sending them ricocheting in random directions. Kind of a version of Deflect. There's another video game that does this. I think Dota. Is it Dota? It might be League. Thor infuses Thor Force into Storm, and Captain America granted them imbued with thunder power, electrocuting nearby enemies. So it's literally unironically a Grok ult. That's cool. Separate nearby enemies' souls from their bodies. That's some ROM shit. I don't know what that means. Okay, we're gonna need to not use Dextero for that because that one sucks. This is MarvelRivals.net, and I do not think this is official. But let's start with Luna. Take center stage, no dancing. Press the toggle between two performances. Heal allies or grant them damage boost. So it's Lucio, both damage boost instead of movement speed. Fire ice shards for a short duration, damaging enemies or healing allies or restoring your own health. It's basically just Ana with lifesteal in a way. There are several cards in Paladins that whenever you heal an ally, you also get healed. So I'm just combining those two. Attach Idle Aura to an ally. Allies with Idle Aura also restore health when Luna's knows healing others. So it's Corvus's Mark or Lilith's Kiss, depending on how you want to look at it. Cast a clump of ice to freeze the hit enemy and restore health. In a way, it's kind of like Sigma's Rock, except it has lifesteal. Psylocke, a character that has like a crap ton of interesting fan art. Unleash Bolt. Oh wait, there are videos on this one. Oh, this is actually so helpful now. Why did Luna Snow not have this? Okay, what does this thing do? It's just a shot, but it looks like it kind of works kind of like a mix between like Genji and Echo, where it has that like shotgun spread that's like relatively tight, why I'm not just calling it like Buck or something like that. Doomfist, actually. Doomfist has that exact attack. What's this? Riki from Dota 2 has this ability where he places a little thing in the ground and he attacks all the enemies hit in that area. Dash forward and slice through enemies. That just sounds like, yeah, that's just Genji dash. Enter stealth and gain a movement boost. Is it literally? Okay, it's just skies hidden. Alright. Wing shurikens. What does this do? Okay, so it's an alternate fire that gets you bonus health, it sounds like. Press again to recall the shuriken. Junker Queen has the knife and then Tiberius has the sword, so I'm gonna claim that comes from that. Psychic Echoes. So, Super Smash Bros. Has a character that has the same sort of like whenever you move, the clone moves. I don't remember the name of the character. I don't play Smash at all. I only found this out like the other day because I watched a short on it. But there's a character that does that. And then at the same time, in a way, kind of like Sati, but I'm not going to directly say that's stolen from Sati because that is fairly different. It is, however, directly stolen from the Smash Bros. Character. Emma Frost, because everyone, yeah, fires a psionic beam to deal damage. The longer the beam hits, the higher the damage. So this, I'm not joking. I'm not joking when I say this. There was a Roblox game that was based off of, that was like inspired by Overwatch that had this exact ability in it. It was a beam that you could fire onto somebody, and the longer that you held it onto them, it did more damage. Yeah, I think it actually just looked like this. In diamond form, deliver a crushing double-fisted strike to enemies. So it's like Tiberius's, I forget the name of it, but it's meditation, where he gets attack speed bonus and movement speed bonus and stuff like that. Except it turns her into, I guess, a melee, which Ramatra is probably just the closest comparison for that one. Creating levitating barrier at the designated location. Okay, that's literally just Sigma. I don't know what you're on about. That's just literally Sigma. This is such a long title. What does it do? Just show me the video. Alright, well, maybe, alright. I guess I have to read the description then. Control of enemy center. Damage dealt to the cascades to the physical form. Why does Marvel Rivals really like this concept of having like a separate thing? Although it doesn't look like it separates anything. It looks like, okay, so it spawns a little deployable on the ground, and if you kill the deployable, it deals damage to itself. I will say, I've not seen that feature anywhere. I think it sucks. I don't think it's good. It's like, how do you counter that? What's the counterplay to that? It doesn't really exist. Nor the counterplay. You just, oh, Emma Frost hit E. Alright, time to take damage. Yes, honey. It does remind me of some stuff from other video games, but like I said, it's relatively unique. It's just, it's not particularly interesting. I'm not gonna go into like the monumental all game design here, but generally here's the way it works. If you have concept with counterplay, good. If you have concept without counterplay, bad. That's generally how it works, and you can kind of go in between those two. So if you have some counterplay, it's good. If you have a lot of counterplay, it's great. Whenever you have no counterplay, it's just a horrible ability. It can feel like fun because it's a unique, cool concept, but then like whenever you do what Rivals is doing, you're just spreading it to like every single character in the game, because at least I know of at least one other character that has this, and I've only read the abilities of like 3 characters. It becomes really boring. There's no counterplay to it. There's no way to play around it. It's just like, it's literally just a take some damage. It's literally just that. Activate diamond form to transferring your attack style or gaining damage reduction and becoming unstoppable. What does that mean? Okay, so it is just punch form for Mumatra. Yeah, editing a stealth Paladin here, I just realized what these 2 abilities actually are. This is just Mother's Grace from Inara. It's just a 30% damage reduction. Crystal Kick. This sounds just like it's gonna be Zen Kick. Oh, so earlier whenever I said it was Tiberius's like meditation thing, battle form, I think it's called battle form. Whenever I said it was Tiberius's battle form, that literally is it. There's just a separate thing that grants the Ramatra punch form. And it is just Zen Kick. This one is just Zen Kick. Lunge forward to grab an enemy, then execute a back slam to inflict damage. Is this literally just gonna be Khan's command to grab? No, they took the grab! Oh, that's, oh, okay. You know what? Find the CEOs. Managed grab is such a cool ability, and they yoinked it for like such a garbage one. Scion, I'm not reading that ability description. I'm sorry, Chieftain. Project a forward psionic assault that stuns foes and prevents them from unleashing their ultimate abilities. If the effect lingers, it gradually commands, forcing them to move towards Emma Frost. So it sounds like it is Ari's, I forget the name of it, the little heart thing that goes forward and then comes back and then lures people towards you. Oh, I remember this ability when it first came out because it made like so much waves. Because people were just like, how do you counter this? It's just this giant area of effect. What's the counterplay to this? And then there's some passive team up ability. The team up things are cool, and then they are relatively unique, but it does feel like it does really just feel like a very shoehorned way of being like, we don't know how to create abilities that work well with one another, so we're just going to create this whole new system so that we can basically just cheat and not have to worry about creating characters and stuff like that that can flow and synergize well. We'll just force this. So it can feel really boring to the player, whenever it's just like, also, actually, you know what I was saying is really unique? TFT has that exact feature, like literally that exact mechanic. Where if you have multiple people a part of like a group, you just get a special ability. Let's try this person. Okay, why are there no videos for this person? Kirby. Let's look at Kirby real quick. Unleash a healing splash. This is kind of just Mora's attack, so I'm not kind of just like Mora's healing, but as an attack. Launch a high-speed water sphere that bursts upon impact, dealing damage to enemies within range. What does that mean? I don't even know if it's really worth pointing out to other characters that can do that, because it's just literally just an AoE attack. Deep dive into the scene and resurface to swallow both enemies and allies within range. So it's Kirby. I will say the ability to swallow teammates is actually pretty interesting. I think it's really throwy, but it's interesting. Technically, Pudge had a mechanic like that. Pudge had that first, because Pudge can do that now. Pudge can just eat his teammates. Pudge has been able to eat his teammates for the past like 4 years, until actually like just recently. So technically we could say that this mechanic was entirely stolen from Dota, because Pudge can both eat his teammates and eat the enemy. I know everyone loves the clips of Jeff like throwing people off cliffs, but it doesn't feel that fun. Counterplay to that is literally just like, well, just don't get swallowed. There is counterplay, because you can avoid being swallowed. There's a big area thing on the map that shows you, hey, you're about to be swallowed. So there is counterplay. I'll give him that. One cool ability. That's unique. I should probably specify that part. Dive into the scene, granting him movement speed, can heal while submerged, and gains the wall crawl ability. I think Venture Overwatch was after Rivals, so I mean, so far Jeff is pretty unique. Fit a bubble that heals the ally who collects it, granting them healing boost and movement speed while also launching up nearby enemies. That's so much bloat. Why does it do so much? That's one ability that it heals, it gives them move speed, but then it also boosts their healing. It gives them rejuve. Basically, they were like, hey, can we create an ability that just buffs an ally? And then they have their team up stuff, where they're like, well, we don't know how to create synergy. So I hear everyone complain about stuff to do with this character. I have no clue why. Shoot Acorn. Who is it that has like the really short duration explosives? Betty actually is a pretty good example of that as well. Dredge's primary also feels like it works pretty similarly, except there's a little bit more bounce. Oh gosh. What is this? This is Coddle's wave thing, except there's no channel time. To be fair, there is channel time. That is a long time for a class shooter. However, very short as well. But it definitely does just kind of feel like a Coddle ability. Aesthetically, it's the same thing. They're forming a wedge, and then also at the same time, I will say it bounces. That's cool. For really basic stuff, like it moves the character forward. I'm not really gonna be judging it too much. Like, well, this character has that same ability. It does something very generic, like it's a dash forward, but it also deals damage to every enemy you dash through. I'll be like, hey, Genji. Hey, Caspian. But I'm not gonna be like, they move forward. Actually, Paladins did this first where Maeve moved forward with dash, reload, burst acorns, and use the ability without cooldown once in a short duration, just like any ability. So wait, does it reset cooldown or does it nullify cooldown? Okay, so it nullifies cooldown. That actually is pretty interesting. Locked acorn to unleash whatever. Okay, so it's Grover route. So it's kind of just AoE route. Loki. Shapeshift into a target ally or enemy hero and use all their abilities except any of their team-up abilities. It is just Echo. So it's just Echo. There's not really anything interesting about that. That's just Echo. Or Morphling, if you want to go down that route. Use whatever these things are to create a field that provides healing and converts incoming damage into further healing. What I will say is making a bubble that does that is relatively unique, but the converting incoming damage into healing is Abaddon's ult from Dota. No! No! They did not. Oh, it's literally pull out a dagger to stab enemies, dealing extra damage when attacking an enemy from behind. That's just Spy. That's just Spy's thing. Become invisible and conjure an illusion to deceive enemies. It's kind of just like Sauté's cardboard thing. This dude unleashed 2 Gatling guns and missiles to attack enemies. So it sounds like it's either gonna be D.Va or Rom/Mauga. Ah, it's Ruckus. Clearly. Deploy a Torb turret. I've seen this before. Actually, no. Sorry, it's not a Torb turret. It's Bastion turret from back in, like, Overwatch beta. Captain America. This is the dude whose abilities I was reading earlier. I could not freaking understand a single thing. Boost speed, enable whatever that is to leap into the air. It's just Tiberius's Battle Trance. It's called Battle Trance. I don't know what I was calling it earlier. Hurl the energy, hurl the thing. So it's Tiberius's primary fire. Oh, dude, wait, no. They straight up went like, what if Tiberius was a tank? Because that is also Tiberius' ultimate. Wait, no. No, wait a minute. Do they actually go Tiberius' tank? Because this is also Tiberius' alternate ultimate. Or is it pile drive? Because this video's not loading, but it looks like it might be pile drive. It's targeted? Okay. So it is just kind of just pile drive, except like a really pathetic version of pile drive. I guess they were like, you know what, the severity of pile drive is such a defining futuristic of Wrecking Ball's kit. It really makes Wrecking Ball have the identity that Ball has. What if we joined that? Took it out, and then this one, dude, I feel like I'm going crazy, dude. I feel like I'm thinking like the Overwatch Roblox game, dude. I feel like I remember there's ability in that. I feel like I know. It comes up so often that whenever I'm thinking of like mechanics in video games I've sseen before, where I'm like, that mechanic was really cool. Where did I see that? What video game? It comes back to that same Roblox game, and I don't know who made that, but like it had so many features that like so ahead of its time. But sending them in random directions, I don't know why, that just feels really trolly. I don't know why Rivals has this problem with troll abilities, where they're like, what if this ability did this cool helpful thing to their team, but also it had the ability to completely screw them over at the same time? Because that's not counterplay. That's just trolling. It's like, what if there's this cool, unique ability for this character to have, where like it was a super helpful, beneficial thing for the team, but also at the same time, it could just completely kill the team if the guy running it decided to troll. It's like, it has the same effect as like Punch Hook. Like, theoretically, the ways that it's bad could be useful, right? Maybe Loki pop down the healing bubble thing that turns damage into healing, and then an ally, like Captain America, sends a bunch of damage into Loki, thus healing him. However, I think what's also far more likely is that you just get trolled by it. Because it's not send the damage sideways. It's not send the damage back at the enemy. It's send the damage in random directions. The only point of doing that is to troll your teammates. To be like, oh, sorry, low health teammate. I didn't think all the shots were just gonna fly straight into you. That was an accident. Maybe you shouldn't have been standing there. Well, maybe if the ability just straight up did it so it always shot stuff to the side, you as the Captain America wouldn't think, let me shield in this instance when my teammate's low health and the shots could go kill them, right? It's kind of just a player trap that's trolling. Oh, let's try this person. What is their basic fire? Because this person seems like an Echo clone. It looks like it's just a single projectile. Flight. No, they were like, you know what? They're like, you know what? We don't like Androxus ulting on the ground. That's really boring. That doesn't seem right. We like it when Androxus go up in the air and fire down. We're just gonna force that as an ability. But it is literally just Androxus' ult. So far between the primary fire being a single projectile hit scan, it looked like, and between this character just seems like, and a color scheme, which let's be real here. It seems like this character was Androxus. Wait, oh no, I'm seeing movement stuff. Oh, that's cool. I'm actually fine with this, because it's a lot of movement abilities and stuff like that are generally, in class shooters, are generally fine to have the free buttons. Like, there's not a lot of counterplay to them, other than just where you're going. So I'm fine with having iframes, and I'm fine with it doing that. I feel like there probably is someone. Oh, I need to finish my Pudge thing from earlier. The thing about like troll abilities like Pudge's hook from Dota 2 is like it's generally a good thing, and it can be used on allies in beneficial ways, but more often than not, the interactions you're going to be having with an ally are negative. An ally is either intentionally blocking you or accidentally blocking you. Either way, you're losing out on a hook. And the only reason to have that is, I don't know, you want to have it be more careful. At least in Dota, hook is like a very, very powerful tool when used correctly, and it's one of the few things that can give Pudge a lot of skill expression, is you can have a very, very aggressive off lane that goes in really deep for a pick and has this free get me out of jail free card. There are some really cool synergies that can go with it. I don't know what synergy you're going with for Captain America's random direction air shots. Is it actually random? Or does it actually just only fire it off to the side, or is it genuinely random? I don't even care if it's biased random, I just want to know, is it actually random? Because if it splits the damage, if it's like, okay, 100 damage comes in the front, 50 damage out either side, as like a constant thing, that's fine. As long as it's doing that specifically, because then it's like, oh, then it might be okay, because at least hopefully you're not going to get player trapped into thinking, okay, it's fine to shield right next to a low health ally. I'm spending so much time dissecting this because it's how do you think it's a good idea? A circle thing that explodes. I'm sorry, it's a really, really fast Sigma rock. It looked like a Zarya orb that stuns for some reason. Based off the description of this, it sounds like it's either going to be Echo's bomb things, sticky bombs. That actually is what it sounds like it's going to be. It's just going to be sticky bombs. Okay, so it's sticky bombs that do an absurd amount of damage. Also, they're not really AoE. It didn't look like they were. It looked like they only explode if they hit someone. But yeah, that just looked like echo bombs. My problem with Marvel Rivals stealing so much is like, because some people will say, well, isn't it good game design to use concepts from other game designers? No. I don't want to put an asterisk on that. I'm not going to put an asterisk on that. No, it's not. The good part about adapting ideas from other game designers whenever you're designing a video game is that you don't have to do the heavy thinking of what is the solution. You just have the answer, and you probably have the reason behind the answer. That's really valuable. But what's not really valuable is trying to make your entire video game based around different answers that different people have had for different problems. Because what you get is you'll get these weird fill-in cases where you're like, okay, well, we have 80% of the problems solved, but there's 20% that's still stumping us. You haven't done any of the heavy lifting to figure out any part of the problem yourself, and so you don't know how to solve that last 20%. You can guess, you can do stuff based off of what you've seen other people do. I'll keep the camera over Hella's booba so while I talk about this. But you don't know how to solve that, and so you'll get these cases where it's like, you'll get a character, you'll get a mechanic in Rivals where it's like 80% of it's fine, 80% of it's good, because it's not their ideas, but then there's like 20% that's really bad. And then you'll also get these like cases where it's like, if you steal so many abilities, and I'll use the word steal here, like I use the word steal here very harshly compared to like what it probably actually was. I'll still use it that way. Whenever you steal, whenever you take an ability if it's not yours, whenever you steal like 4 abilities out of 5 for a character, and then you do that for like your entire roster, you run into this problem of how a character is supposed to work together because you didn't create these abilities with anything in mind. You didn't think about how you wanted your game to play, how you wanted the map to play out. You just saw other characters and you're like, well, what if X, you know? You just saw characters and you're like, well, what if those abilities work together? Like, Echo Androxus actually sounds kind of insane. I don't think it's better than anything Paladins has, but I don't think it's better than Androxus. But if you're gonna combine different characters from different video games, that's a really interesting concept to combine those two characters because they have a lot of synergy. But then when you throw that against like a roster of like 20 other characters who like you didn't really have any concept for, it then kind of becomes like, well, these characters are not gonna work well together. And so you have to force synergy. And so you get this like developing problem where you're forcing synergy. And then as things go on, you're going to encounter more problems. And if those problems haven't been solved by other game designers, you haven't built the foundation of your own knowledge of how you want your game to play, of how you think games should play, of any of this philosophy that goes into building a game. You haven't done any of that. So you encounter this problem that's like 7 steps down the line, and you're like the guy who like didn't study for a math exam during finals, and you're just like, well, gotta wing it. I didn't know about team up abilities until tonight. I think I might have, because I referenced TFT at some point, and so that might be why I'm ragging so hard on it, because it's a cool concept. But I don't think it was done because they were like, oh hey, this is like a really interesting idea, because otherwise there'd be a lot more nuance with it. Because in some cases it's not even, I don't think it's by lore, right? These three are by lore. If you grab like Jeff, I don't know what Jeff's lore is. Does Jeff have one with Emma Frost? Like, I don't know what the lore implications of these two being. Team ups don't feel like they're by lore. We'll do Psylocke for same boober reason. It doesn't feel like team ups were done for like lore reasons. It just feels like it legitimately does feel like they were like, well, we don't know how to solve synergy at this point. Let me see if I can phrase this in a way that makes a little bit more sense. What's considered like good game design whenever you're designing a video game is to go forward with a concept for what you want the video game to be. And that goes further than just class shooter. It starts with like, well, maybe I want to build a class shooter. But then you go like, well, how should the class shooter play? You know, you start asking questions like, what should the time to kill be? That's a question that traditionally it's thought you should ask, and then attempt to solve. So if you just take abilities from other video games and you just go, well, this worked here, well, this worked here, what if we combine these two? Yada, 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 build a character out of that. You don't get what should the time to kill be. You can balance numbers around that, but the actual core abilities, they're not going to play into what you think the time to kill should be if you're ripping the abilities and stuff like that without care. But based off like some of the abilities that I've seen that I'm like, hey, these are actually kind of unique. Most of them are really bad. Jeff generally seemed pretty unique, but like Captain America's shield I think is a really good example of where their logic is failing. Because if you ask yourself, what problems does Captain America's block attempt to solve? Well, Captain America's a tank. A tank should be super durable, so they should stay in the fight for really long, so we should give them a block. But then, what is the damage randomly deflecting in different directions? Maybe you're like, well, we want to make it so that Captain America is at the front of his team, because, you know, we see off tanks, and we don't like off tanks. Off tanks are boring. Why are you off? We want you to be the main tank in front of your whole team, without anyone by your side. So we're gonna make this ability that punishes you for having people on either side. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Why is it random? Well, you know, we just thought that was cool. Okay, well that's an issue. Rule of cool works, you know? It's pretty cool to have cool mechanics. If I do say so myself. But there's ways to make it far more punishing, because you can absolutely have it where maybe you use the shield in the wrong time, but you get rewarded by it because the RNG of randomly deflecting in different directions helps you. Again, I don't know if it's truly random. I don't play Rivals. But then you can kind of question that philosophy by saying, well, then why is the terrain destructible? Because if you want to have it so the tank is forward, playing, you know, in front of the entire team, why is the terrain destructible? Because team would just be behind the tank, so there would not be a need to destroy terrain. You would play corners, your tank would just play a corner, and then whenever your team could advance, you'd all advance through a choke. There would not be dynamics behind how the battlefield plays out. So then you kind of have this weird juxtaposition where it's like, well, Captain America should be in front of his entire team, but also the team should be playing the map super weirdly. And also, that's not usually how class shooters are played. Usually you play corners. Very, very aggressively you play corners. I don't know. Whatever. She has beauty, she has grace, I would let her sit on my face. I'm gonna end this video here for right now. Thank you for watching. Remember to play Paladins.